Hey, what is up, guys? And welcome back to another Magic the Gathering online league. We're back with Eldrazi Tron on the play for game one. Pretty decent hand. We can turn to Tezzeret and have an Everflowing Chalice, which is nice. Allows us to ramp 2, 3, 4, turn, gets us to 5. And then 6, I think, on 3? Yeah, something like that. So 6 on 3 is not bad. Devour trigger. There's tower, there's lab. Second lab is interesting. So benefit of second lab is that we're able to go lab into lab into Chalice into lab into Tezzeret. The only problem is we don't have much going for us thereafter. So I wonder if Ballista might be better. Otherwise we could draw fresh. But I'm thinking maybe Ballista. Then again, if we draw into a K command, second lab would be good. We'll go lab. So in that case, we're gonna go lab, imprint, devourer, cast chalice with multi-kick for 1, and pass, and pass. So 2, 3. Could have 4, 5. Tez gets 6. There's a saga for what? Nothing thereafter. Interesting. So we also could go a different route and go Tron on 4, which I kind of do like the idea of. So first off and foremost, let's attempt to resolve Tezzeret. Resolves, play a land, search, grab map, cast map, and pass and fall. Those are triggers. So like I said, we'll have Tron on 4, on 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 mana minimum next turn. I mean, if we draw into another 7 mana value spell, we could play Ugin next turn. Because we'll have 7. Since Tez will be able to untap the Everflowing Chalice. Saga Forest could be Broodscale. GSC for 1. Arboreal Grazer, so this is Titan. In that case, how do we want to proceed here? Draw, power plant. So we don't have what we need for Tron. Or not for Tron, for Ugin. So Titan. We have Chalice. It's not going to do us much good, unfortunately. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Play the tower. Now reason the 0. In that case, I'll pass and hold. Again, imagine if the 0 is a +1. Card to be ridiculous. It's already pretty good. I like it a lot. Basically, it acts as Saga, but can be played on as early as turn 2, which I think is the biggest benefit of it. It's a turn 2 tutor versus a turn 3. So that slight acceleration in decks that can get it out on turn 2, I think are really good. Well, I'm starting to think it's not as good in Tron proper, but Eldrazi Tron and Broodscale, where Delighted Halfling's played, it feels very strong. So I do think I'll probably cut it out of Tron, but to be honest, Tron has not been performing as well as I'd hoped. Feels just a little bit too fragile at times. Spelunking resolves. So we're not dead yet. Keywords. Pulling Vestige. So that's 2 mana. So we can get rid of Spelunking for what it's worth. That is 4 mana. If they have Scape Shift, I lose. Oh, son of a... Scape Shift 4 gets them what? Lotus Field, T West Bounce Land? Let's confirm that they see that line. Because if they do, they win with 1 Amulet. That is 6. T West Bounce Land, 6, 8. 8 Pact. Actually, does that get them enough? No, because they can tap T West for 9, right? Because then they T West down to 6. Yeah. Yep. Brutal. I guess we could have gone for Bauble, forcing to have it in hand, rather than map, I suppose. T-West. I mean, yeah, they should just be able to win from here. Well, actually, Henry Battlements is in the graveyard, which makes this a bit more complicated, actually. Though, actually, no, if they go Aftermath Analyst, then different story. It's a risky play, actually. Because if I have K Command here, they'd be in deep trouble. But I don't. And unfortunately, they don't know that. I'll just concede at this point. Because they'll be able to go again, and yeah. We'll just concede. So this is Amulet Titan. Lost for game 1. So let's take a look-see. Vaccine Bobble's still good here. Soul Guide's still good here. We cut the Gemstone. Flute and Pithy Needle can be relevant. Flute's more so than Pithy Needle. So bring in Flute. This member's not doing much. I don't think anything else is really doing much in the grand scheme here. So I think we just run it back as is. All this kind of does feel a bit meh. We could instead bring in a Leveler. EE also feels a bit rough here since we can't generate colored sources. It's really for 0, which this does not have a lot of. So we can cut the EE for Leveler. And yeah, let's run it back like this then. Yeah, they must have drawn into one of the bounce lands. I guess they weren't bounce lands. If they were bounce lands, then they wouldn't have been able to go off. It specifically need to be Crumbling Vestige for them to have gone off with Scape Shift that turn. Brutal. Brutal. Well, that's Titan for you. Titan is a good deck for a reason. Alright, on the play for game 2. This hand is kind of meh. I mean, we're able to get Fleshraker on board. Great, but then what, right? We have 7 hits for Soul Lands, which is relevant. So if we do have Soul Lands, then K Command X2 allows us to get into Karn into... we wouldn't actually have enough for Karn and Local Metal Coating on the same turn because of Temple. Right? 2, 4, 5. Yeah, be short 1. Otherwise, we're able to play the Fleshraker, hold up the K command, play the K command. I guess if we K command X2, we could try and draw into a land. Turn 3, Karn, Liquid Metal Coating. That could work, but we specifically have 7 hits. Though we do get to see 4 deep. Yeah, I'll keep it. Let's run the numbers. trigger. I'll grab the towers. We're going for Flash Rake then. Temple, pass. Just realizing now they have 74 cards in their deck. I'm confused. They just like bring in their entire sideboard. No, it's 81 cards. Oh. Echoing Depths. 81 cards. I'm confused. Very confused, in fact. Okay, so I can still generate mana. Interesting. Draw. Urza Tower, Flesh Raker. We could Ballista for 0. There's no reason to do so right now, though. We can wait a turn, I think. Because it can be done at any point. It's not like they are going to have instant speed removal. I guess they could have Dismember. That would kind of suck. But I'm not sure they bring that in against me specifically. Not to mention you only have maybe a 2 of, 3 of at most out of 81 cards. That seems unlikely. If we can get Karn onto board next turn, I think we're off to the races. Vestige, 2 mana. Do you have an Explore? Green. Phaser, close enough. Land. No land? Then why play the Grazer? Yeah, that's confusing to me. Flesh Raker. So in that case, Flesh Rake. Triggers. Double Flesh Rake can quickly close out this game. I would like to find a land. Half tempted to K Command X1s. We could go Ballista, 0, triggers. ETB, triggers. 12. K Command X1. This is mana neutral. At that stage, I don't foresee them moving next turn. Triggers. Like I said, this is mana neutral, but we do end up dealing a decent amount of damage here. Resolve. Tower. Top and draw. Triggers. Can we actually win this turn? We might be able to. 7. Urza Tower. Cast Karn the Great Creator. Yeah, I think we win. Because I can Karn for Ballista. Ballista for 0. I can Ballista for 1. Karn ETB. Minus. ES. For Walking Ballista. Trying to think if there's anything else we would need. I guess we can just go Liquid Metal Coating and play it safe. Liquid Metal. Adjust the cast should be the game. And we got there. Alright, solid win against Titan. 80, still confused by the 81 cards. Still very confused about that. We want the gemstone back in. I guess we could have kept the gemstone in theoretically. We can cut the leveler. We want the flute. On the Soul Guide Vexing Bauble. We'll run it back like this. I guess we could bring in level over All Is Dust. There's like a world where All Is Dust might be worth it. But it is few and far between, admittedly. And maybe someone in the comments can explain to me the 81 cards. Like, I know I'm 61. That's not unusual for Titan. Gemstone Cavern's a hell of a card. Utility lands are good, and there's a ton of them now. Like, imagine explaining to A, just a modern player, but B, a Titan player back, I don't know, how many years ago? 10 years ago? That there would be this many good utility lands, that Titan would be playing what it is now. It's absurd. I mean, 8 hits off the top. 12 hits if we include lab. Yeah, we'll keep it. Real Devourer and pass. Yeah, 81 cards. And 12 fluke. Going Vestige. Green. Grazer or Amulet? Cost GSC for 0 for Dryad. Yep. Wait. What? They failed to find. Power plant. They didn't have Dryad back? But why? Pass. Yeah, I have no clue what's going on right now. I'm very confused. Golgari Rot Farm. That's not a card you see often anymore in Titan either. Interesting. Draw. Second tower. We'll pass and hold. There's a world where we play Everflowing Chalice instead. To ensure that we can play Karn, I suppose. Because they could Besage you here and send me back a turn. Yeah. Maybe that would have been right. Oof. In response, correct. For mine. Pass and fold. Crumbling Vestige. Green for Razor. So they have 4 mana. Draw. Mine. So we have 7. I mean, I can Karn. Karn for what? We could Karn for... Oh, I don't have Torpor Orb. For E-Bridge, I guess. For Chalice. Do I have a second Chalice in here? I don't. Damn, it's main. Yeah, maybe it's just worth it for me to go Ugin this turn. Ugin, exile, oof. Always yield. Resolves. Would be plus or be minus? I could minus for Chalice. Right now I have access to 10 next turn. 10, 13. This would be 14. Do I need 14? No, I need just 12 at most, I think. So we'll draw a card. And start setting up the combo win. Not combo win, but the ult, which will win us the game off of Flesh Rake. I'll pass at this point. Without an Amulet effect, though, I'm not sure if they can win this turn. What is this? Spelunking. Okay, they have an Amulet effect now. But they have 1, let's say 3 at most. They haven't played a land, though. So if they have a Lotus Field, that would be an issue. Oh, I guess if they have... they have 1 more land for Scape Shift, that could be an issue. Yeah. Oh, they don't? Okay. Well, we can get rid of the Spelunking then. Draw. Disruptor Flute on top of which. Tower. So cast KGC. We'll exile Spelunking. Always yield. ETB. Now we could minus and go for a Extinguisher Battleship to blow up a Simic Growth Chamber. That'll leave him with just 3 mana next turn. The alternative, of course, is that I could go for Liquid Metal Coating and kind of do something similar and hold up a Flute as well. So I think let's actually do that. I'm going to minus Karn here. Yes. For Liquid Metal Coating. Liquid Metal. Target Grazer. And plus Ugin. I guess I actually could minus Ugin. Yeah, actually, I kind of like this idea. Or 0 Ugin. 0 Ugin for Karn. Ugin on nothing. Because this way you get to blow up a land. New Karn. Liquid Metal Coating on blue. Karn plus on Simic Growth Chamber. And this way you get to hold up the Flute as well. So they find a way to get towards 6 or 4 even. We can Flute for Scape Shifts, Flute for Aftermath Analyst, Flute for Titan, etc., right? So they have access to 4, but without an Amulet effect, it doesn't matter. Yeah, between the GSC for 0 whiffing and the 81 cards, I'm just very confused about what's going on here. 1 turn too late on that force. GG's. Alright, opponent scoops it up. I'll take it. Alright, a bit confused about the deck list, but we got the win against Titan, and I will always take that. With that being said, we'll be back for match number 2. Alright, and we're back for match 2 on the draw for game 1. I mean, Triple Temple's pretty good. You can turn one map. Oh, though this might be, I was about to say Affinity, so maybe we go Vaccine Bobble instead. And it seems like it'd be a wise decision. Though it might not matter much. Don't tell me they turn one Kappa, that would be miserable. Another Bobble? Don't you dare tap that Pinnacle. Alright. Alright, well, if we were on the play, we would have been in a better position. Trigger, Devourer. Sire's 7 Death is tempting. The Urza land's kind of meh right now. I think Sire's 7 Deaths. Temp, Bobble, and pass, and pass. Next turn we'll E-Temp K command. Biggest thing is, as long as they don't play a Kappa, we should be okay. Darksteel Citadel, 3 in hand, Pinnacle Emissary. Okay. Take 4, down to 16, draw, another K command. I'm tempted to cast now to ensure that we don't get by Metallic Rebuke. Question is the Scryjar exile. We can exile, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, we could also hold in case of a cranial plating. That might be the better move. We'll hold. Pinnacle Emissary triggers Pinnacle Emissary. This one's with Warp, though. Thought Monitor, draw 2 triggers. I really could use an EE. Again, we're just hoping they don't play a Kappa at this point. If they play a Kappa, we're in trouble. Saga trigger. And go to combat, swing for 7 down to 9. Yes, that will resolve. End step trigger, warp trigger, K command cast. I'd love to find EE maybe. Done. K command X2. Bottom draw. Mine. Draw. Chalice. In that case, let's play Temple. Sire's 7 deaths. And pass. And pass. This construct will be an issue, but we do have a K command, so that's good. Thought Monitor, trigger Pinnacle Emissary. Again, Kappa's probably our biggest threat. Next I'm playing mine. Play the Spiral Canal, no attacks. I think we can attack though. 7, 3. I guess they could actually attempt to block Flesh Raker. I will start with Devourer of Destiny. Yes. Because with Devourer, I can exile the Pinnacle Emissary. And now they shouldn't have enough to block the Sire. Because they can block 7 to... I guess actually no, they can't block 7 because can't block creatures without flying, right? Can only block creatures with flying. Yeah. Oh. Right. That's a 14/14. Forgot about that for some reason. Yeah. I'm dumb. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll pass. Dang it. For some reason I did not think about that. Like, 3 things I didn't think about. A, I forgot the drones can't block creatures without flying. B, I forgot about the construct. And C, I could have K commanded that without issue. Because now they can grab boots. Oh, Shadow Spear as well is an issue. Yeah, I did forget about that. Yep, I'll just concede there. Yeah, for some reason I was like, okay, I can attack in. For some reason just ignored the Saga. I'll blame that on me having to take like an hour break and coming back and not getting my head back into the game. Just not paying enough attention. We'll bring in Dismember. They sometimes do bring in Harbinger, so that is relevant. Engine Explosive is good. Chalice is alright. It's basically a second bauble, which is fine. Soul Guide actually not needed. I think that's about it here. Alright, let's not punt, shall we? I mean, I guess, okay, they would have made a construct. I'm trying to think about what that would have looked like had I not absolutely botched that. I would have held the K command and pass. We would have held the K command. Could have gotten rid of one construct. Held up a blocker. They would have had the second construct though and could have still hasted it. So I'm not sure. That one's a little bit tricksy now to think about it. Still, an EE would have gotten us there eventually. We could have K commanded to scry draw. You know. Emissary. In response, I'm going to dismember you. And pass. Opal. Saga. And what? Podcast. Warp, draw, E-temp. It's kind of the same, but power plant. And we'll play the power plant here and pass. Saga trigger. We do need to draw into something here. Kappa, Blood Moon. Crack for not mine for a waste. Yeah, waste might be the best course of action here. And pass. Thing is, with Saga on 2, they can make constructs ad nauseum. E-temp's not what I wanted to see. We'll play the waste and pass. Yeah, I think we lose here. Honestly, looking back on game 1, I'm not going to ignore the fact that I just made a mistake. But I don't think we are really in a good position regardless, at least not with our current hand. We draw into Tez, Karn, etc. Surprised they didn't play Boots, Saga. I think I just lose at this point. We play the mine. We pass. I mean, Tez for EE would work. Karn for EE would work. Next turn. 5/5, 6/6, hasty. Yeah, I'm in danger. That is a matter of fact. Yeah, because I wouldn't have been able to take out the Pinnacle Emissary, but I would have been able to take out a Construct. Draw. Flesh Raker. We can play the Flesh Raker, but they'll be able to make 2 constructs, and they'll be able to haste one of them, so I don't think I have a way out. I'll concede. The Blood Moon got me. Alright. Well, that's unfortunate. Bad way to return to the league after a break. Game 1 was definitely me just not paying attention. Game 2 was just a well-timed Blood Moon. That said, we'll be back for match 3. Alright, we're back for match 3 on the draw for game 1. 8 hits off the top, plus an additional 7, 15. We'll keep this. I'll pass. Sewers, so it could be Ock, could be Reanimator. Okay, there's Oculus. Turn 2, the K command. In that case, I'll play the power plant and pass. And pass. Hopefully they don't have a turn 2 on Earth, otherwise I am in danger. Strand fetch. Island. Frog. This is a frog. Okay. Draw. Okay, perfect. Cast Everflowing Chalice. Multi-kicker 1. And done. Next turn, we can either K command or we can attempt to Tez. Try and maybe grab or bait out a counter magic. Main deck Harbinger would suck. Yeah, that'll do it. Draw. Lab. Play mine. So we can play Tez for map. I think we do have to go that route. Tezzeret. You have a force. A force would probably ruin me here. Minus Tezzeret. Could also grab Walking Ballista, but map grabbing for a waste might be right. And pass. Trigger Tez. And pass. So I'll drop Tez. Give me a frog, most likely. Down to 18, they'll draw a card. Frog, pitch, Ock. We already had an Ock in Yard. Next turn I'll have X equals 1, I think. 2 at me, 2 at Tez. Yep, makes sense. Otherwise I would have been able to untap and K command next turn. Unearth. Yeah. Once I get this Harbinger off board, though, I don't think I can do much. Once I draw into waste, I do not. Crack the map. Find waste. Play waste. I guess I also could have grabbed another Everflowing Chalice, admittedly. That would have been a thought. We can K-command X equals 1. Right now I have access to 3, 4, 5. I will pass. I'm gonna Thought Scour, that's fine. Again, we can K-command X equals 1. If it resolves, we do have the ability to play Ugin next turn. To combat. Attacks. K-command, try and mitigate some damage here. Rampant Exile. And done. There's no way that just should... Yeah, this should resolve. I'd be surprised if opponent let this resolve, at least. Because it would ramp me enough to play Ugin next turn. Right now we have 7, 9, 14. Pitch Frog, Stern Scolding. Okay. Why Pitch Frog? 2, 3... Flip the manifest creature as Ock. 10. Pitch. I mean, you have 17 here. Yeah, you should just win. Pitch Frog. Pitch Frog float. Now you just float Frog, and that's 17 exactly. Yep, I will concede. The Harbinger is well timed. If we were able to resolve our 7-minute value spells, it would have been a different story. Alright, Oculus, lost for 1. Oh boy. Alright, we bring into Dismember. We bring in Grafdigger's Cage. We bring in Pithy Needle. We bring in Leveler. We cut Gemstone. We cut Vexing Bauble. We cut... Could argue Karn. Chalice of the Void is out. EE has some utility here for X equals 0. Here are the manifest creatures, I suppose. It's kind of niche. I can maybe EE out. Keep the Ballista. All's Dust is good, but doesn't hit our... Right there, manifest creatures, which is rough. Can be countered to 4 sorcery speed. Yeah, we'll cut the Allah's Dust and run it back like this. Alright, on play for game 2. 8 hits off the top. Devourer, we'll keep. Reveal. Trigger. And whiff. I'm going to exile all, draw fresh. And main phase. Power plant map again. 8 hits off top. We'll pass. And pass. I guess we could have played that for Flowing Chalice theoretically. Who would have thought? Thoughtseize on 1 or holding up Consign. Thoughtseize probably takes the K command, I'd imagine. They could take Tez, but I think K command's correct. It's the most versatile card here and can interact with a lot of what they're trying to accomplish. Interesting, takes Tez. Okay, that's fascinating. Draw. Soul Guide Lantern. Don't think we need to play that yet. Keywords. Play Temple and pass. Next turn we can grab Map or we can grab Temple even. That's a consideration. Crack Map. I think we go for Temple. I think I do want access to Devourer. So grab Temple. And draw. Waste. Play Temple. And we can X equals 2. I'm going to try and play the Soul Guide now. See if they have a counter spell for it. Soul Guide will eat the Thoughtseize, and we'll hold a K command X2. Two, 5, 6, short. Holding the Marsh Flats, they're clearly holding counter magic. Draw. Dismember, play the Waste, and we'll pass. If they just want to kind of go back and forth, I'll just generate enough mana eventually to where I don't care. Undercity Sewer, Surveil. Yeah, one land off of the Devourer. Alright, they kept it on top. And hold. Again, I'm not going to cast the K command here. We have nothing that we're playing for permission. Draw. Devourer. Pass. We can just stare at each other all day long. Another Surveil. Yep. Thought Scour. 4, they need 6, so we can always Soul Guide if we need. They did not draw land this time. Okay. And draw. There's mine. We're just missing tower now. So we could try and cast the K command as permission for Devourer. It's a consideration. To cycle on Earth. So one away from just being able to hard cast Ock. So in that case, we'll just be mindful of that. If they fetch, for example, here, we'll Lantern. 2. Oh, interesting. Did I have Murktide? Or like a 2 of? It was a Murktide. It's a 5/5. So we can do a few things here then. So I will move us to the end step. Attempt a K command. I'm going to hold back a mana though. And done. That's a counter spell. Attempt to dismember Murktide. Alright, Murktide down. Counterspell the K command. And we'll pass. Draw. Cyrus 7 deaths. I will attempt to cast it, see if you have a consigned to memory. And opponent skips it up. We'll take the win. Alright, let's sideboard for game 3. We want our gemstone back. If that's the case, what do we want to cut? I mean, I could cut the leveler, drop down to 9, 7 mana value spells. See, Graph Digger's good, Needle's good, Soul Guide good, Dismember good. Like, we could trim down on Karn, arguably. Karn, Tezzeret, or Ugin are a little bit rough at times. Ugin's better because of the cast trigger. They need Consign to deal with that, whereas Tez and Karn can be a bit rough. We'll cut a Karn here and run it back. On the draw for game 3. 8 hits off the top. I will keep, and I'll pass. Almost passes their turn. Been there, done that. Karn whiff. Power plant. Map pass. Flooded Strand fetch. And sewers. And pass. Island, holding up counter magic, draw, temple. Lab imprint sire. Cast Graph Digger's Cage. Let's see if this eats a counter spell. It does. Makes sense. I'll pass. And on end step, we'll fetch with map for a mine. End step. fetch. For mine. Paying cost. Extraction for map. Okay. So no more map. Not the end of the world, but is annoying, admittedly. I also know what I have in hand at this point. Karn can always grab it back, theoretically. Draw. Another lab. So, we could attempt to play Karn. There's no reason not to, realistically. So I'll play the mine. And let's play Karn. This will likely eat a counterspell. Marshflat's fetched. He hardcast a Force. Swamp. Tells me they probably have a Harbinger coming up. There's a hardcast Force. We'll pass in full. If they play a Harbinger, I am in a bit of danger. We'd be 4 turns away from Ugin unless we draw into an Everflowing Chalice. Thought Scour. Do you have a Murktide? No, you don't have double blue unless you drew into a land. So likely not. Okay, well, there's Watergrave. Passing. You know about the Ugin as well. Devour of Destiny. In that case, I will play E-Temp. That puts up to 5. Next turn we can kind of determine what we want to do depending. And on Earth Cycle, 3 in hand. We'll hold in case they play a Harbinger. We'll grab the Sire back. Land, 3 in hand still. And that's a Murktide. So now we'll basically force them to have a consign for the Devourer. And just play the Ugin's Lab. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Lab will be 7. We'll hold. 2 in hand. Is one of them a consign? Overflowing Chalice. Ugin's Lab. No Imprint. Attempt to exile, pass in full. Do you have consign? You knew I had Ugin, but not Devourer. Blue black, consign, replicate. Yep, makes sense to me. Now, question will be what the last 2 cards are. We'll take 8 down to 12. You know, as long as they don't have another consign, we're in a good position. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We also could... No, playing a Sire doesn't do too much here, I don't think. Yeah, I think just trying to jam the Ugin is correct. Force them to have the consign. Main, passing 2 in hand. There's Karn. We could attempt to play Karn for bridge. Again, it would force them to have counter magic. Otherwise, we play the Ugin and forces them to have a consign. I guess forcing them to have the consign rather than just the counter spells probably correct here. Ugin's Lab, no imprint. Ugin. Ugin target. Does it resolve? 2. Looks like another Consign. Yeah, I felt like we were playing around more counterspells than Consigns there. Alright, we'll be down to 4 now. Replicate. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One short of the Sire. 2 Frog. 1, 2, 3. If you have a instant or sorcery in hand, pitch it and float. You win. This puts me to 11. Or puts it to 11 down to 1. I can empty hand next turn. Ugh, son of a... Alright, well, didn't matter what I did then. The Consign had me one way or another. And they must have drawn into the Frog. So rather I tried Ugin or Karn, it simply didn't matter. Because yeah, we would be able to empty hand next turn with Bridge out and try and lock things down. The Sing, funny enough, actually would be able to get around Bridge. Unfortunate. But we'll be back for match number 4. Alright, we're back for match 4. On the play for game 1, we will keep mine, map, pass, pass, marsh flats, pass, draw, power plant, hold. We actually don't need to fetch. We don't want to. So it looks like maybe Oculus or Murktide again to mirror something. I guess it could be Esper, admittedly. Go to Delta. We'll probably want to use this K command as permission. If they play Frog, I might play Ugin as they can't consign. And they would need to have a force. I guess we could always K command. Pause on end step. We want to crack the map. There's no reason not to, I think, here. It also has the deck. We'll grab a tower. Otherwise, we kind of telegraph. We already have one. Draw. Tower. I guess they know about this, so if they have a force, they can hit my K command. They can't hit the trigger. The trigger will get the Frog regardless. Does this resolve? Frog, pitch a Troxet's Goryos. Oh. In that case, 0. K command. Scry, draw, exile cards in yard. Done. And done. Ugin trigger, done. Always yield. And we'll put Flash Raker on top. Draw. And pass. And pass. So this is Goryo's. And Bone scoops it up. We'll take the one. Alright, let's move the sideboard. So run Solitude. So Needle, Cage, Dismember. We could pitch the Vexing, or we could have the Vexing Bauble in, but it really only affects Solitude, so we'll pitch the Vexing Bauble. It's not as necessary in this matchup, versus like Brood Scale, for example. EE's doing nothing here. Chalice on 2's not bad. Hits Frog, Goryo's, Emperor Bones. That's relevant. Ballista's good. What do we cut is the question. Needle for Frog, Cage for Goryos, Soul Guide for Goryos. We could trim on Karn and Tez. Once again, they don't have any cash triggers. Need the Sire, admittedly. The Sire does match up well into Atraxa, though it doesn't match up well into Grizzlebrand. So that is a bit of an issue, admittedly. All His Dust is okay, but again, I kind of would prefer a cash trigger here. So maybe cut the All His Dust for the Leveler. And then, I guess cut a Tez, cut a Karn, maybe cut 2 Karn. Maybe cut 2 Karn. Yeah, let's cut 2 Karn here. Because Tez can grab some of our hate pieces pretty easily. I will keep, because this is a Tezzeret on 1. Keep Gemstone. What do we pitch? A Tezzeret. Tezzeret. And pass. Marsh Flats. Fetch. Thoughtseize on 1. Water Grave Shock for Thoughtseize. That is unfortunate. So instead of Tezzeret, we'll be playing Everflowing Chalice for 1. In that case, we don't need to lab. Kind of wish I had tucked the Chalice now, so we had redundancy. In that case, I will... Well, I guess if I lab... Okay, so yeah, we lab. We imprint. Now we are top decking for our lives. Multi-kick 1. And multi-kick 1. We have plenty of mana on turn 2, I'll tell you what. That's 2, 4, 5, 6 mana on turn 2. Man, if we had the Tezzeret, though, it would have been so good. We'll grab our hate pieces. We'll be able to untap Chalice. Draw Power Plant. They know about Tower, so we'll play Tower first. And we'll hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 shorts, so an E-Temp will get me the Sire. That's 4 hits off the top, so it is a consideration. We also have more sentimental value spells off top, so we'll probably hold Sire under Lab for now. We'll hold just in case it's relevant. Blue Delta, Fetch. And Hallowed Fountain, Shock to 11. 2, 4, what? Quantum Riddler with Ephem. Yeah, that will do it. Draw a card. Ephem, draw a second card. I'll pass in full at this point. I'd love to draw into Ugin or Devourer here. Ask and you shall receive. So now we force check. Target. Always yield. Force check, but we do get the trigger regardless. So at that point, we'll pass in full. And pass. Ephem has no hits. And pass, they miss a land drop. Draw. E-Temp. So in that case, we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Return Sire to hand. Play E-Temp. Cast Sire and pass. Consign. Consign. Worth a shot. And 2 Tainted Indulgence. Draw 2, pitch a card. Pitching Ephem. Pass. And again, miss the land drop. Draw. K command. We'll hold. No reason to cast this now. And hold. They miss a land drop again. I will cast K command here. See, force them to have counter magic. And done. And consign. And passable. Draw. Karn. What I have in exile here? Tez and Ugin. 1, 2, 3, 4. Karn the Great Creator. Force. Pitch Atraxa. Pass. And pass. Falaji. Atraxa, Griselbrand, Solitude. Yikes. I'd love to see a Tez, Graph Diggers, Karn. Devourer is okay. The question now remains, is it worth casting now? Or is it worth holding for potential Goryos? It might be worth holding for potential Goryos. I'll pass at this point. It's a bit awkward, admittedly. White, Ephem. Because you guys would have hit nothing. Pitch. Puts a +1/+1 counter. Ephem again. You have to hit a Goryos at some point. Falaji. Whiff. Draws a card. You hit Goryos. Blue, black, frog. We'll exile the frog here. Draw. K command. K command's actually a bit more interesting because we can K command X equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will K command exile, exile. So we'll exile frog, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess random cards at this point. 5, 6. Done. And done. And pass. And pass. This way, Goryos is dead. They draw into it. Emperor Bones. Emperor Bones eats a Solitude. I guess they could grab Sire's 7 Deaths. Yeah, that's fine. Complete Emperor Bones. Attacks for 1, down to 19. 9 turns in, the first combat damage has been done. And we have Tower. No reason to reveal that. Though, like, yeah, no reason to reveal it. 1, 2. Eat Bones. And pass. And pass. And Bone scoops it up. We'll take the win against Goryos. We'll be back for match number 5. Alright, we're back for match 5. On the draw for game 1. We'll keep. We have 8 hits off the top for Tron on 3. Misty Rainforest, passing, trigger, and whiff. Instead, we have Templar Lab. Lab does allow for a turn 2 Karn. Could be relevant. Otherwise, we could go turn 2 Tezzeret, which also could be relevant. I'll go for the turn 2 Karn, I think. Lab. Play the lab. Imprint Devourer. And cast map and pass. Misty Rain, fetch for Meticulous Archive. Okay. Misty Rain to Grave, we'll pass. What do you think this is? Meticulous Archive, Hallowed Fountain, could be control. Draw. Temple. So, I'm half tempted to play Flesh Raker here instead of Karn. I will cast Glaring Flesh Raker. And pass. Let's see the counterspell. Waker Waves. Okay, this is Living End. Not what I was thinking. No green, so they have an Ardent Plea here. Well, there's the agent. They get back Colossal Sky Turtle and Waker Waves. That is troublesome. Pitches Street Wraith as well. Yeah, without having access to Chalice, I another Street Wraith. Jesus. Alrighty, so what can we do here? Well, if I had played the power plant, we could have done a bit more next turn. So we can play Karn. So I'm thinking I can Ugin Lab, tuck Ugin, play Karn. 2, 8, 11, 18. We're dead on board though. Shoot. We are dead on board. So then, what's our recourse? What can I grab from the side at this point for 1 mana? That could help me. Not much. In fact, nothing. What I can do, however, is I can 2, 3, 4. I can play Karn. I can plus on map. Yes. But map won't be able to crack, so that's a bit unfortunate. Yeah, I guess we'll play the lab. We'll lab imprint Ugin. Cast KGC. Do you have a force? Subtlety will do it. We'll concede. Because confirming 2, 8, 11, 21. Yep. Okay. So that's Living End. Lost for game 1. Even a turn 2 Karn wouldn't have necessarily helped me there. So we want Vexing Bauble. We want Soul Guide Lantern. We can cut the Gemstone. All his dust is relevant. Sire is, but do we want it is the question. EE is not. Chalice is. Clarion Conqueror sometimes has played in Living End. We could bring in Dismember. That is a consideration. Could bring in Grafdigger's Cage, as that does stop Inevitable Betrayal, which is also a consideration. Because, I mean, if we just take out everything but Devourers, Sires, like, we bring in Sundering Titan. This is an artifact, not a creature, so they can't actually grab that if we cut the Sire. We could just do this, and then 2 Dismember for Conqueror. Yeah, let's just do that. And it keeps our 7-mana value spells at 10, but makes it so that if they do Inevitable Betrayal, at most they hit a Devourer or Glaring Fleshraker. And if they really want to, they can Sundering Titan hit their lands. All be on the play for game 2. That's a mulligan. Yeah. Mulligan. That. I will keep. We have how many hits off top? 4 for Power Plant. If we want to account for map, I guess 8. We pitch a waste? I mean, mine is just a fancy waste at this point. Yes. Done. Main phase, mine, and pass. Let's say you, opponent, you have a pause on my end step. Do you pitch a Street Wraith? That was my initial thought why you'd pause there. I guess you don't need to do that now unless you're specifically looking for a card. Maybe a land? That wouldn't make too much sense then. If you're looking for specifically a land, you need a no-lander or you have a tapped land in hand. Which I feel like isn't the end of the world for you, especially since you have enough cyclers. Interesting. Extinguisher Battleship does take out a lot of their creatures. A lot of them do have 4 toughness, barring Waker Waves, Sky Turtle, and what's the Ent? Yeah. Looks like actually our opponent may have stepped away from the keyboard for a moment, so we'll take a quick pause and be back once they have returned. Alright, and opponent's back. We'll pass in full, because I don't think they have a turn 1 play. Okay, Hedge Maze, Surveil, Waker Waves to Yard, Yeesh, Draw, Power Plant, perfect. Play the Power Plant, pass. I'd love to see a 7-mana value spell here. Ugin would be probably the best thing. Rainforest, passing. And draw. There's Devourer. Actually, I have no reason to play the Devourer here, to be honest. I'll pass. External of 9 mana. Down to 19. Lush Port. Alright, we'll hold. Paying cost for Curator. So the question is, are they on Inevitable Betrayal or are they on Living End still? And do we see a Cascade. With a Harbinger, we have Dismember, but I don't think they play Harbinger. Alright, they're just gonna hold. We could Battleship, pop a land. I'm not sure if that's worth it, though. Play mine. Instead, I'll attempt to multi-kick Chalice. We can multi-kick 3 times, but I think I'll just go... Yeah, I guess we'll go 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then we have 6 manas follow up. Basically, I just want access to this member on the off chance it's relevant. It shouldn't be, but you never know. In an ideal world, if we can resolve the Extinguisher Battleship... Oh, interesting. Waker Waves to Yard. Having 2 Waker feels pretty rough, though. Right now I have access to what? 9, 12, 14. Almost wish I kicked it another time, to be honest. If I kicked it one more time and it resolves, then I would be able to play both the Battleship and Devourer, which would have been relevant, or will be relevant if they have the Waker Waves. Or rather, since they have the second Waker of Waves. Alright. Does it resolve? There's the 4, so I'm glad that we held. Sky Turtle. Nope, Charles Agent. In Yard. Okay. We'll hold Dismember again. Paying cost for what? Ardent Plea. Ardent Plea resolves. Alright, Betrayal or End. End it is. Alright. There's the Waker Waves. And they could have another force is the only concern here. Chalice of the Void on 0. So I will play the E-Temp. So Chalice on 0 as a start. Could eat a force. So let's do that. It resolves. So I could Extinguisher Battleship here. Pop a land and clear both Curator and Shardless Agent. Or I can cast Devourer and clear Waker Waves and have a blocker. I think that's probably the right move right now. Yes, because it will get rid of 7 damage versus 6. And we have a blocker on top of which, so Waker out. And hold. Alright, so we can block the Shardless Agent. We'll take 11. Not ideal, but fine. Passing. Attacking. I can attempt to dismember the Waker Waves and then block it. That is a genuine consideration. Yeah, I'd want to know if it resolves before I go to blocks. Attempt for Dismember. You have a hard cast force. Go to blocks and block. Down to 12. And passing. Draw. KGC. So I will cast Extinguisher Battleship. Does this resolve? Battleship. You only have one white source. We'll pop the Lush Port. Float screen. Go to phase change. Don't think we want to put any charge counters on it, so I think I just attack here, right? The only way they could living end... Well, no, we have Chalice of the Void on 0. 2... Return card from graveyard to your hand, Shardless Agent. You'd still need a way to deal with Chalice, though. Combat for 6... and pass. So Extinguisher Battleship can deal 10 next turn. Did they forget about Chalice? I think they forgot about Chalice. Chalice of the Void? It's not like you play Consign to counter that trigger. Draw. K command. So let's first attempt to resolve Karn, the Great Creator. You have a force. Or a subtlety even. And bonus percent. Alright, we'll take one. Let's go to game 3. So it seems like they are on the living end plan and not on the inevitable betrayal plan, at least for that game. So I do wonder if maybe Cyrus 7S is going to be better here, at least over Sundering Titan. Extinguisher Battleship was surprisingly effective, but I think a Sire might be better. Yeah, that seems right. In that case, let's run it back. You want to know if another Chalice on the side would be worth it? Alright. Imagine we'll be on the draw for game 3. I'd like to see Vexing Bauble in the hand, Chalice in hand, or a turn 2 Tezzeret, which can grab us Chalice. That would also be ideal. Of course, we'd have to play through Force, but it is what it is. We'll force them to make them have it at the very least. We did bring in Cavern Souls back in, right? We did not. Oops. That was a mistake. I'll keep because we can dig. Not sure it'll matter too much, admittedly. Lush Port, Surveil, Endurance to Yard, and Trigger. There's K command. I mean, another K command's not a bad idea. Everflowing Chalice does allow us to ramp. I think we go Chalice hold K command then. So Chalice, Lab Imprint, Devourer, tap, Everflowing Chalice, multi-kick for 1. Does it resolve? It does. I mean, map is mana neutral next turn. Maybe play the Flesh Raker, but I don't think we do. So I will play the map and pass. For the next round, play E-Temp and then hold K command. Yeah, that seems correct. Draw, Flesh Rake, E-Temp, hold K command, and pass. Next turn we can grab another E-Temp, Waker Waves, that resolves. Trying to do data analysis, Clarion Conqueror, on Living End must be miserable because nothing is really cast, it's only cycled, right? Bolt, you're gonna send it. Charlotte's Agent, in response, I'm going to Scry Draw Exile. Do need to remember I can't do spawns. I guess I could do spawns and crack map, but 2, 3. I think Scry Draw's better here. Alright, let's see, what do we find? Karn Tez. Well, I think I want 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you could Karn, but we can't actually grab anything of relevance. So in that case, I'm thinking we grab Tez. So I think bottom 1 Karn, top and draw, and then resolve. Pass in full. There's Living End. And draw. Karn. In that case, I will crack map now. For another E-Temp. Play E-Temp, cast Tezzeret. Do you have a Subtlety or Force? Now thinking hard here means like they have to have something, right? There's a Subtlety, pitching Waker Waves. I will put Tez on top. And I will pass in full. And pass. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 4, 4, 1, 2. So not enough to play Flesh Rake, Tezzeret, for example. There's the Breeding Pool, Shock, and then we'll go again. Ardent Plea this time, yep. So at this point we just need to stabilize. Ardent Plea. And draw. So I can Flesh Rake. I suppose I can Flesh Rake, Tez, trigger. Actually, no, this works. So if we then Tezzeret, trigger, always yield. Always yield. Enters minus for Chalice. Chalice for 0. Triggers. Enters. Triggers. Always yield. Flesh Raker. Triggers. Enters. And hold Dismember. And pass. We actually might be able to win next turn as it stands. Attacks. Attack Tez. Exalted Trigger. Attempt to Dismember Subtlety. You have a hard cast force. You do, which means I can resolve Karn. Waker Waves. I mean, I pass in full at this point. There's not much I can do. So either that or they're looking for the force. Alright. Perfect. Draw. Tower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excellent. Return Devour to hand. Tap Everflowing Chalice, 0 Chalice. Devourer. Exiling Generous End. Triggers. And always yield. Enters. Triggers. Down to 5. Go to combat. Swing at you for 4. And pass in full. Down to 1. So you can't even fetch now. You do have a food, you can gain 3 actually, up to 4. Imagine you do that on end step. No reason not to. Cycle. Bold move caught him. I guess maybe the 3 life doesn't matter unless you can find a way to deal with this Chalice. And the current board state on top of which. Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, Tezzeret showed what it can do. When it resolves, it can find any hate piece you need in that moment, as long as you're playing it in main. Karn can kind of do the same from the side. I mean, a 3-mana tutor, any, 3-mana tutor a Chalice, 3-mana tutor a Walking Ballista, Soul Guide Lantern, etc. Pretty good. Pretty good stuff. I do think I might want a Chalice in the side, though, for Karn, because it does feel bad when you're like, oh, I can Karn on for 4, and then Chalice, oh, I can't, I don't have one. So maybe cutting Sundering Titan is probably worth it, unfortunately. Either that or Mystic Forge. I don't tend to grab for Mystic Forge too often, but I also kind of like a Torpor Orb. So maybe cut Mystic Forge and Sundering Titan. One for a Torpor Orb and one for a Chalice in the side. Might make some sense. But that there will be then end of today's video at a 3-2 record at then 5. Overall, solid league. Our loss in game 1 to Affinity was pretty rough. I just was not paying attention in game 2. I don't think there's much I could have done. And also, I don't think I could have done much in game 1, but I won't make excuses for myself. A loss is a loss, a mistake is a mistake, and we definitely made one there. That is for sure. But with that being said, that there will be the end of today's video. As always, if you did enjoy it, please do consider hitting the like button. Comment down below if you did see any lines that I missed, any mistakes that I made, or any general feedback. It'd be much appreciated. For as much that I hope you all learn from me in both my success and failures, I hope I can learn from you all as well. Last but not least, if you have reached this point in the video and haven't already, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. We're getting closer and closer to our next goal of 1,000 subscribers. At which point, we'll be able to start monetizing these videos, allowing me to start saving up towards a stream PC so I can stream live over on Twitch. In the meantime though, you can support me monetarily over on my Patreon and get early access to my YouTube videos. With that being said though folks, I will see y'all next time. Bye bye!